It's time for the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. It's time for The Game on ESPN 1400. For the next 2 hours, we'll get an in-depth look at local sports in the Eastern Upper Peninsula and Algoma region, and hear from the coaches and players involved in the game. We'll also analyze the college and pro sports scene across the region and dive into the biggest national stories. Now, let's get to the game and join your host, Scott Nason.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to The Game on ESPN 1400. You can also hear our show online at 1400ESPN.net and podcast at thegamesportshow.podbean.com. As the man said, my name is Scott Nason, broadcasting from our ESPN 1400 studios in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, on this Monday, July 5th, 2021. The Game, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, will be with you up until 8 o'clock tonight right here on ESPN 1400. Coming up at 6:15, we'll talk Laker hockey with one of their assistant coaches, Zack Cisek, as the Lakers prepare for the 2021-2022 CCHA season. Also have some summer hockey camps coming up that we'll talk to the coach about. Coming up at 6:30, co-host of The Game, David McCaig Jr. from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, will get us up to date on what's going on in the Twin Saults, our neighbor to the north in Sault, Canada. 6:45, we'll be joined by co-host of The Game and host of Butch On Sports, Butch Davis from Metro Detroit, who will get us up to date on everything going on in the world of sports in Detroit. And Butch will be with us for the second hour and our roundtable, where we dive into some of the more national and even worldwide topics in the world of sports. Hope everyone had a great Canada Day and 4th of July. Lots of people had the day off today stateside, but the Game is not taking today off because we have a lot of sports to talk about. And let's start where we always start, with local sports, as we have completed the high school sports season, and the 2021-22 fall sports season for high school sports will begin in just a little over a month. And we have a new coach in the mix as far as Soo High and volleyball, as it was announced last week that Vince Gross is making the transition from officiating to coaching this fall. He was named the new head coach of the Soo High volleyball varsity team. Gross takes over the Sioux coaching job from Jessica Morosky, who moved out of town to accept a job promotion not related to volleyball. And Gross is no stranger to anybody that really follows sports in the EUP, especially volleyball, as he served as an MHSAA official for the sport for around 20 years. Besides being an MHSAA official for volleyball, Gross has been active as a coach and teacher of the game for many years, going back to his time in the U.S. Air Force. He also has coached the Sioux Spikers AAU club team and ran his own strong side volleyball instructional lessons. Additionally, he coached at the squadron club level in the Air Force and played volleyball on the NATO team in Keflavik, Iceland, and Air Force clubs. Gross has also worked as an MHSAA official for football, basketball, soccer, cross country, and track and field. Gross, currently a teacher and athletic director at Paradise, was also formerly a teacher and AD at JKL Boating in Sault Ste. Marie. So congratulations to Vince Gross, the new head coach of the Soo High volleyball team. Cedarville and Detour, well, they are co-opting for sports starting this fall for 9th and 12th grade athletics. And the school boards of those two schools have hired their athletic director, Spencer Bird. Bird has experience as a superintendent at a district in Illinois. In addition to being the new AD for Cedarville Detour, Bird will also be principal at Detour High School. The Athletic Collaborative Board of Control from Cedarville and Detour have also hired the following coaches for the 2021-22 season. Varsity football will be Scott Barr. Varsity cross country, Rob Preston. Varsity volleyball, Sarah Gallerick. Varsity girls basketball, Brad Cosley. JV girls basketball, Chad Williams. Varsity boys basketball, Jason Duncan, and JV basketball coach John Stonecipher. They are still looking for a JV football and JV varsity coach in Detour and Cedarville. Again, those two teams will be co-opting for athletics starting next fall. The Michigan High School Athletic Association, they are accepting registrations online or by mail for game officials for the 2021-22 school year. We've talked a lot about this on the game as far as lack of officials. The MHSAA annually receives registrations by more than 9,000 officials, but in part due to COVID-19 precaution, just had under 8,000 during the 2020-2021 school year, a decrease of nearly 14% from the previous year. For all new and returning officials, those who register online, again, will receive a $5 discount off their processing fees. A $16 fee is charged for each sport in which an official wishes to register, and the online processing fee is $40. Officials submitting registration forms by mail or on a walk-up basis will incur a $45 processing fee. Online, you can register just by going to the MHSAA website and clicking on officials. For more information, you can contact the MHSAA by phone at 517-332-5046. There's an officials registration test for first-time officials and officials who are not registered during this past school year. This test is derived from the MHSAA officials guidebook, which is also available on that same page. So there's lots of need for officials across the state of Michigan, certainly in this area, as a lot of these officials are not returning or maybe aging out. And certainly we could use some influx of young talent to the officiating ranks. And so go to MHSAA.com if you are interested. We'll talk more about this at the bottom of the hour with David McCaig Jr., but the Soo Greyhounds 2021-22 regular season schedule has been released. It'll mark 576 days since the Hounds' last game, which was on March 11th, 2020. Between then and the new exciting season kicking off, the Hounds will begin their 50th anniversary season with a 2-game homestand the second weekend of October in a battle of Northern Ontario, as they'll host North Bay Friday, October 8th and Saturday, October 9th. The Hounds and Sudbury Wolves will kick off the latest installment of the Bell Challenge Cup. Some other features of the 2021-22 regular season schedule. The home portion of the schedule will include 9 Wednesday contests, 10 Fridays, 10 Saturdays, and 5 Sundays. Game times 7:07 for all days except Sunday, which are matinees, which will start at 2:07. The Hounds will not compete this year against 12 of the OHL's 20-member teams. The unbalanced schedule for the upcoming season will not see the Hounds enter action against Hamilton, Kingston, Oshawa, Ottawa, Peterborough, Mississauga, or Niagara. As a result, the Hounds will play the Windsor Spitfires 8 times, Guelph 6, Kitchener 6, Owen Sound 4, North Bay 6, and Sudbury 10. And no information has been released as far as season tickets for the 2021-2022 season. USA Hockey unveiled its 44-man roster for the 2021 World Junior Summer Showcase, which will be held in Plymouth, Michigan later on in July. And a total of 4 OHL players are on that roster, including Soo Greyhounds forward Tanner Dixon. A St. Louis Blues prospect, Dixon posted 40 points over 64 games as an OHL rookie in 2019 and 2020. From Perrysburg, Ontario, he was signed by the Hounds as a free agent in May 2019. And again, this will be going on. The showcase will include teams from Finland and Sweden and will serve as an evaluation for athletes seeking to make their respective national teams for the 2022 IIHF World Junior Championships, which will be in December and January of 2021 and 2022, and will be hosted by Edmonton and Red Deer, Alberta. The Hounds did select a couple players in the 2021 CHL import draft, including a 17-year-old defenseman from Russia, Kirill Kuderaev. Easy for me to say. During the 2020-21 season, Kuderaev appeared in 20 games, tallying 2 goals and 5 assists. He also appeared in 10 games for local junior, where he had 1 goal and 3 assists. And the Hounds selected at the 89th spot forward Julian Lutz from the Red Bull Academy Juniors out of Germany. 17-year-old native of Germany, stands 6'2", weighs 180 pounds. He appeared in 31 games this past season for the RB Hockey Juniors, recording 13 goals and 13 assists, good for 26 points. The Soo Thunderbirds of the Northern Ontario Junior Hockey League have announced that they have 6 more players returning from last year's roster. Those players are forwards Russell Oldham, Brock Santa Maria, Ty Zachary, Ethan Novello, Tyson Doucette, and defenseman Caden Dundas. They've really shored up that roster in a quick amount of time at the Soo Thunderbirds as they prepare for the 2021-22 OHL NLJHL season, We talked about that last week. The NLJHL has announced plans for the 2021-22 season. They expect to have a 56-game regular season, which will begin on Thursday, September 16th, and conclude Sunday, March 13th. All of the league member clubs are slated to play 27 games at home, another 27 on the road, and each team's remaining 2 matchups are scheduled for the NLJHL Showcase. Again, it will just be interdivision games until the Christmas break, and then the NLJHL will look at the schedule and see how they can do as far as COVID-19, and of course that includes the border closure, which has been extended again. Just ask the family members of the Tampa Bay Lightning who are going to try to win back-to-back Stanley Cups tonight in Montreal. We'll talk more about that with Dave and Butch. But the fans, they can't come. The government of Canada said, nope, we're not going to let you in. And so we're just going to have to wait and see as far as the border reopening for the NLJHL season. Because right now, thought it was looking more likely a few weeks ago, but government of Canada has not budged, so we'll just have to see what happens. Well, we're just over a month away, as I mentioned, if you can believe that, for the start of the 2021-22 fall high school sports season. Practices for high school football, volleyball, cross country, and boys soccer will begin on August 9th, with games and contests beginning later that month. And week 1 of the high school football season in 11-player football, which just has 2 teams in the EUP this year, sees those two schools face off as the Soo High Blue Devils will open up their football season after a very successful season last year, and they will travel to St. Ignace to meet the Saints on August 27th. You can hear that game and all Blue Devil athletics on your official home of the Blue Devils, 1230 WSOO with Dave Watson. Week 1 in 8-player football sees Pickford, who were unable to complete their postseason last year due to COVID-19 and their state title in Division 2. They're going to travel to Gaylord St. Mary on week 1 on August 27th. Cedarville Detour will be at Munising on August 27th. Brimley is at Newberry on August 27th, while Engadine will host Ironwood. Rudyard will begin their season on August 28th with an afternoon home game against Superior Central. And you can hear many of those games over on our sister station, Oldies 93, with Matt Pocket, or who knows, maybe yours truly filling in for Matt when he can't do some games. That's your local sports update, but we have a lot more local sports to talk about. We're going to take a break. We come back. We're going to talk Laker hockey with their assistant coach, Zack Cisek, all coming up on the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, The Game, ESPN 1400.
At Old Mission Bank, we're ready to make your home ownership dreams a reality. We're excited to announce that we now offer USDA home loans with options for 100% financing. You heard that right, 100% financing for qualifying USDA mortgages. Come see our experienced lenders to discuss your personal options and let us find the right mortgage for your needs, because it's what we do best. Act now to pre-qualify by calling us or apply directly online at onbloans.com. We're Old Mission Bank, home of your experienced local mortgage professionals. FDIC insured, equal housing lender.
Summer, the change of seasons is sure to bring a smile to your face. Don't let your mood sour at the prospect of dealing with that unreliable mower for yet another year. Rely on the experts at Gaylor Thompson Sales and Service. Their highly skilled technicians can help. Gaylor Thompson Sales and Service takes pride in their work, and they know that an ounce of prevention can mean years of reliability down the road. Call them to talk about your service needs, or stop in and chat with Paul and the gang today. Gaylor Thompson Sales and Service, just off I-75, exit 373, Rudyard, Michigan.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Madigan Pingator, your independent auto owners agency on West Water Street in the Sioux.
O'Connor's Chrysler Dodge Truck and Jeep in Pickford is your full-service dealership, servicing Pickford and the surrounding areas with pride for more than 50 years. O'Connor's top-notch body shop includes a state-of-the-art frame straightener. O'Connor's is also a proud supporter of community events. Its sales team has the experience to know which model is right for each customer. And with financing available to back your purchase, you can drive away today in your dream vehicle. Local people, local pride. Stop in today on M129 at O'Connor's.
You can catch podcasts of the game at thegamesportshow.com. Now let's get back to it with Scott Nason here on ESPN 1400.
6:15 on the game, ESPN at 1400. Scott Nason with you, and joining us by phone, one of the assistant coaches of the Lake Superior State University hockey team, Zack Cisek, joining us on the road on the game. Zack, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us and talk Laker hockey, and welcome back to the game.
Hey, thanks for having me, Scott. Definitely excited. Missed it already, and I can't wait for the season to start.
Yeah, before we get to last season and looking at the summer camps and ahead to the new CCHA season, I want to give you a congratulations for your marriage this summer. Tell our listeners a little bit about how that went.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of things going on for the Lakers staff. Our volunteer assistant coach, Mike Guggen, actually got married 6 days before I did. So it's been a lot. My wife and I, we got married on June 18th. It was just an unbelievable day. I think we had some pictures going around social media. Damon's wife brought the WCHA trophy down, and they took it to the florist and everything. So we had that as kind of a focal point of the wedding. It was really cool.
Well,
I say June 18th was the wedding. I got on the road right after that for a couple of days of recruiting, and then was on a honeymoon in Naples, Florida, and we got back yesterday. So it's been a lot going on.
I bet. And the life of a hockey coach is always busy, and certainly congratulations to you, your wife, and your family, Zack. And before we get to what's going on now and coming up in the 2021-22 CCHA season, Zack, we haven't had you on the show since the season ended. We had Coach Damon Witten on talking about Laker hockey. Certainly a season to remember in these parts, winning the WCHA and what would be the final WCHA playoff championship, making it to the first NCAA hockey tournament in over a quarter century. Certainly it was a year to remember for Laker hockey, and certainly as a coach, it had to be one for you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things that made last year special, and I'll get into those in a second here. But I think the main thing was just our senior class. Obviously, the whole team has to come together to have a senior class that we had last year. I think was really special. They just did things the right way. They were unbelievable kids off the ice. Obviously, they could all contribute on the ice. They're all really good hockey players, and they definitely they made it a purpose that they weren't going to leave here without a championship. So very very fortunate for those guys, and I think they really set the table for the next. For the continuing classes here. For us, we think you're only as good as your senior class. And we feel like we have a really strong, which I'm sure we'll talk about here shortly, that we have another strong senior class that they got to, really see how a good senior class leads in last year's success. And again, from, our whole staff being from Michigan, us growing up and, knowing what Lake Superior State was in the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, it was important for us to make sure that we got back to the NCAA tournament to win championships. And we're hoping that, this is only the start.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun for Laker fans, especially those that have grown up with this team like I have, and kind of back to the glory days and seeing the success. Zack, before we look at what's coming up in the off season and the upcoming CCHA season, you're able to hold hockey camps at the Taffy Abel Arena this summer, as the hockey camps will begin on July 19th through the 23rd and July 26th through the 30th. Those camps will be open to 3 groups, 8 and under, under, 11 and under, and 14 and under. Just give us an idea for maybe somebody that's listening that has somebody that's interested, what those camps entail, how you sign up for it, and what to expect. We're having some technical difficulties with Zach here as his cell phone coverage has cut out a little bit. Zach, I'll try to let you get in a better spot there talking about the camps. You can find information all on the website, lssulakers.com. Again, these camps will be July 19th through the 23rd and July 26th through the 30th. Zack Cisek joining us on the game. Zach, hopefully we have a little better signal there. You cut out for a little bit. What is your job during the off season? Obviously, you're recruiting right now. Between the time practice begins and you're able to get with the guys, what are some of the things that you're doing as assistant coach?
Yeah, can you hear me all right now?
That's better. Yep.
Perfect. Okay, I'll stay here. There's a lot that we do in the summer. Sometimes it turns into a little bit of a desk job at times. So typically, like you said, recruiting is a big part of what we do right now, whether it's setting up visits, whether it's going out to find these student athletes, and then just making sure that we're keeping contact not only with the guys who are already committed, but the guys we want to make Lakers as well. So certainly recruiting is a huge part. I think the next part is making sure everything is ready to go in terms of academics, living situation for our guys, for our current players. Just when they come back to campus, it should be, there shouldn't be any hiccups or anything like that. They should know where they're living. They should have their class schedule. So managing those situations is a big part of the summer. And then, lastly, or I shouldn't say lastly, we feel like we always have things to do, but then just prep for next season. So a lot of what the whole staff has done is we like to break up, certain areas, whether it's skill development, whether it's team structure by systems, having meetings with our leadership group, just finding ways to get better. So when we do join in the preseason next year, we have some tactical playbooks. So we have some areas that we feel that we really want to show our guys that we can improve on. So there's always something to do, even though we're not on the ice right now, we're just as busy.
Zack Cisek joining us on the game, one of the assistant coaches of the Lake Superior State University Hockey Lakers. And Zach, looking at next season, we'll have a different look as far as a new league, the CCHA, which will include 7 of the teams out of the former WCHA, including the newest team, St. Thomas. I know you have some connections with their head coach, Enrico Blasi, and some of your coaching duties. We had the commissioner, Don Lucia, on a couple weeks ago talking about the league, and it's got to be pretty exciting for all the member schools to be a part of this league. Certainly a lot of energy into this project. What are your views as far as assistant coach for Lake State heading into this new / old league?
Right. I think, again, you kind of saw it last year. Obviously, it was WCHA last year, and I'd like to just touch on that really quick.
Sure.
I believe it was 70 years I saw up until July 1st there. So obviously the WCHA, they've had a lot of teams kind of go in and out of it over the decades, but just a tremendous league. Obviously we're very sad to see it go. There's you can't count how many All-Americans, national championships, everything like that. So certainly sad to see it go, but really excited for the CCHA. We feel like, I think kind of the mood around college hockey is that we always kind of hoped it came back.
Right.
It makes too much sense for us in terms of the geography and everything like that, the history that the league has. Again, something that I personally, our whole staff grew up on, is watching the CCHA, obviously with a little different look, but really excited. You mentioned the new commissioner, Don Lucia, who's, he's been incredible. Already you notice just the team he's put together. I think, for us, we've been really, really impressed with the social media presence and just how far they're digging in to finding clips and promoting our league. We're just super excited in terms of Don. Like he's done it. He's been elite at what he's done everywhere he's been. He's been at in Alaska Fairbanks. He's been at Colorado College. He's been at Minnesota. So he's been at a range of schools so he can understand different perspectives And on top of that, he was, he's a legendary hockey coach. So we're very fortunate to have him. And then lastly, just the, just looking at the league and our team members, having 3 of our members go to the NCAA tournament last year, we feel like that's going to be the standard, quite honestly. And then obviously adding, as you mentioned, they're really happy for Rico there, who I worked for 2 years at Miami. Happy to see him get back into college hockey. He was there at Providence last year in that role. But I think everyone in the league knows how quick that he's going to get it running there. Especially with a lot of things going on right now with transfer portal and that extra year of eligibility. And on top of him being a really good coach, it's not going to take them very long to have a really competitive program.
Zach, final question for you before we let you go. We'll have the July edition of the Laker Hockey Show coming up later this month with head coach Damon Witten. I imagine by then we'll have the full schedule released. We know most of the dates as far as the CCHA. We don't know yet as far as fans. It seems like the trends are pointing that way. But just from your coaching perspective, the expectations have been raised for this team. What are you looking at about this group coming back as far as Laker hockey to continue hopefully holding the playoff title, if not the regular season title, in the new CCHA?
Right. I think it's a good question. I think there's a couple layers to that. First of all, we want to make sure that we build off of last year. We felt we had in the 18-19 season we had 23 wins. It was our most successful season since '96 until this last year, and we don't want to drop off. And the start of the season, I'll let Coach Witten talk about who we're going to be playing, but we're going to be playing some household names, some exciting teams. So we're going to have to be right when those guys step on campus. They're going to have to be ready to go. And then I think one thing that is really exciting for our team is that there's a lot of opportunities. Our guys have already been talking about it. We graduated some really key players. And that just means there's opportunity for guys. So they're not looking at the depth chart right now saying, I think this guy's penciled here or penciled here. Opportunity is always really exciting. And I think we have that at every position this year.
Well, we are certainly looking forward to talking more Laker hockey throughout the summer and in the fall, and of course covering it over on our sister station, Yes FM. Zack Cisek joining us on the game, assistant coach of the Lake Superior State University Hockey Lakers. Zach, appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and we'll certainly get you back on the game here once we get closer to the season. And thanks for joining us once again.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott. Enjoy the weather up there.
Oh, we are indeed. We're going to take a break. We come back. We'll talk to co-host David McCaig Jr. from the Game Sports Show in Soo, Ontario, all coming up on the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, The Game, ESPN 1400. Welcome back to The Game on ESPN 1400. Scott Nason with you. Coming up at 6:45, we'll talk Detroit sports with Butch Davis, co-host of The Game and host of Butch On Sports. Joining us now, host of the Game Sports Show in Soo, Ontario, and co-host of our game here on ESPN 1400, David McCaig Jr. joining us once again on the game. Kegger, how you doing on this pretty humid Monday night?
Scotty, my friend, I'm doing great. As I say every week, I wish I was inside the studios with you, my friend, but we're getting closer and closer to that. So I got pretty good, something great to look forward to from that aspect. But obviously, it's nice weather outside despite being humid. Love the heat, and also coming off a very exciting weekend. So it's been a last really busy couple days in the McCaig household, but excited to talk sports with you, my friend, as always.
Well, before we talk sports, Dave, I would love for you to share your big news from the weekend with our listeners here on ESPN 1400. Those that follow the Game Sports Show social media sites certainly have probably heard the news, but why don't you go ahead and share it, my friend?
Oh, the social media world the reaction was great. Some of the reactions I got, it was great to see people reach out, and it's definitely kind. That the social media world was used for the positive in that way, where that's the big point of social media, right? You connect. And Instagram and Facebook, I did release the announcement that myself and my beautiful girlfriend, now fiance, have gotten engaged over the weekend. I proposed to her on the July 3rd, so the Canadian long weekend, as well as the American American long weekend as well. So should make sure I state that. So we announced our engagement, myself and my fiance Hannah, and we're very excited for that next chapter in our life. And again, everyone that reached out on social media, I haven't had the chance to reach out to everybody yet. I'm not trying to sound like I'm Mr. Popularity over here by chance, but obviously getting through all the likes and the comments on Instagram, Facebook, and the texts. The kicker in my rear end was I didn't even have my cell phone this weekend, Scott. Both phones I had died, my personal work phone, so I had to borrow phones to make sure pictures were taken for the moment. But I'm playing catch up now, so everyone that did reach out, I will get back to you. And again, thank you for all the congratulatory support. And again, it was our announcement for our engagement, and I got on one knee, and she was very surprised, and I'm just honored that she said yes, Scotty.
You're both very lucky, Dave, and certainly myself and my beautiful wife, Becky, are looking forward to being a part of the big day when that comes. Dave, let's move on to the Soo Greyhounds. The schedule has been announced by the Ontario Hockey League. The Soo Greyhounds, who will be celebrating their 50th season, believe it or not. They will start their training camp August 30th, and they will begin the regular season with a home game against North Bay on October 8th and October 9th against Sudbury. The schedule a little different this year, Dave. They're trying not to do as much travel, so the Greyhounds will only play, I believe, 3 of their Eastern opponents. They're going to play North Bay, I think, 10 times and Sudbury 8. So certainly from a Northern Ontario perspective, very good news there. As at least the schedule's out, Dave. Let's hope the season gets underway without too many hitches.
You know, that's the key thing. As long as there's the puck dropping at the beginning of the season, that's what everyone should be most optimistic and excited about all in general. And what I should say, everyone is obviously getting to the cusp now of being, I guess we should say, the end of this COVID era, if you will. But it's getting back to normality. But we're still going to have COVID be a part of our society for a while to come, especially with the impact that it's had on the world for the past year plus, right? It's been a drastic change even from a safety perspective in the world, and just from going with the Ontario Hockey League and going on with even the junior level hockey leagues like the minors, and it's been a grueling time for schedulers and conveners and commissioners to come up with a schedule that is appropriate, with the same time protecting our players and protecting our fans, right? So everyone's got to be excited the puck is dropping. I'm sure everyone would rather see the spread of opponents, but again, we should just be happy that hockey's here, and at least there is a plan to return to the ice. And we're in the summertime right now, and things can change by the time August comes around, or even September. But nonetheless, this is the schedule that is planned. I think it's something we should stick to. Keep to that travel plan. Keep it light until at least the end of the 2021 calendar year before exploring other things going into 2022. We want to make sure that we are protecting the players and protecting the fans and overall the communities, right? Because you come into the community with COVID, it could have a spread that can be, disastrous on a community. If one person gets it, it's going to most likely spread around the community, causing potentially a lockdown in that city in Ontario. And we don't want that. We want to make sure the spread is contained, and the best way to do it is the way that they're handling it right now.
Dave, also for the Soo Greyhounds last week, they had a couple players spots, I should say, as far as European players on their roster due to them relinquishing the rights to goaltender Nick Malik along with overager Jaromir Plitnik. The Soo Greyhounds did select a couple Europeans, including Russian defenseman Kirill Kudasayev, I hope I got that right, and German winger Julian Lutz. Soo Greyhounds general manager Kyle Raftis spoke highly of both players and feels that the pair add high-end skills to the roster. Certainly a couple of losses there, Dave, with the players not coming back, but it sounds like by all indications they picked up a couple pretty good prospects.
Losing Nick in between the pipes was huge. That was when I read that news, I looked at that and said, that's a tragic loss in between the pipes, and obviously his father had that as someone who played in the National Hockey League and was known for that through the leg shootout goal against the Washington Capitals on Olev Kolzig. That's a legendary shootout goal. But jokes aside with that, him leaving the team, maybe shouldn't really come as a surprise to many. He likes being on home soil. He believes that's the best course for him to be prepared prepared for the National Hockey League, and you got to respect for what he believes in. He wasn't chirping the city. It had nothing to do with Sault Ste. Marie. It was just for his own perspective. And think of it in your own shoes. If anyone has any kind of disgust towards Nick from Malik and Ned, you got to think of it on the aspect of, would you want to leave home at that young age? Does that make you prepare yourself to be a better player? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I think he's made himself an established development from overseas, and overall, at the end of the day, big losses. Pitlick as well. It's two players that are, like as I mentioned at the beginning with Nick, tragic losses, but they did great with the import draft with the Russian defenseman, which you announced way better than I would have, Scott, and with lots up front. They address needs, but my still biggest concern with the Hounds is in between the pipes. I don't know if Ethan Taylor is going to be the one to really step up and take that step. I hope he is. I think he has the potential to do so. But at the same time, I really think that they're going to not be done with this offseason yet. As the season comes near, I think they're going to explore adding in between the pipes. I think there's some trade opportunities that are out there for the Hounds as they look at being a team that's going to be making some noise this year. But the players that they did draft, especially with Lutz, I got my eye on Lutz, and always the big Russians, the big name Russian defensemen that are youth that come up with the import draft. You hope that they do make this transition to the OHL opposed to playing in the KHL2 or any kind of leagues like that. You hope that they jump over here because they got those direct eyes from the scouting in the National Hockey League. So it remains to be seen if they can get them all to come over here. Hopefully they do, because they have a nice roster shaping out. Like I said, goaltending is the area of concern of where I have question marks that I think they need to address, though.
The newly engaged David McCaig Jr. joining us on the game. And Dave will finish our segment talking about the Stanley Cup Finals. Game 4 tonight in Montreal as the Tampa Bay Lightning lead the Habs by a 3-0 count. They're looking to clinch their second straight Stanley Cup, albeit it won't be around family and friends, as the government of Canada said, no, we're not going to allow that. And the mayor of Tampa is now saying, maybe just lose game 4 to come back and win it in Tampa game 5. Coach Cooper and crew is not going to do that. But, this Tampa Bay team, Dave, we've talked about them a lot this year. They're just a well-oiled playoff machine, and they're playing just like that.
It all goes back to the drafting of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and a big part of that is the current general manager of the Detroit Red Wings, Steve Yzerman, which should make Red Wing fans very excited. They have the best general manager in hockey. I'm going to flat out say that. I know no offense to Joe Sakic, no offense to local native Kyle Dubas, who's apparently labeled as Boy Wonder. I'll give him I'll give him that word once he actually gets out of the first round with the team, but I can't give him any kind of pointy fingers this year. He built a great team in Toronto, but going to the point of the Stanley Cup Finals, because that's where Toronto obviously isn't. No one should be surprised, as they are now the longest team ever with the longest drought in hockey history, passing the Rangers just this past weekend. The Tampa Bay Lightning aren't having that difficulty. They're winning. They've been successful for a good amount of time, and the big reason is the draft that they've done. Look at Stamkos. Look at Kucherov, Hedman, Vasilevsky. A lot of their core guys are guys that were drafted first round, second round. They have third rounders on the team, but they also have made trades. And those trades have led to them being $18 million over the cap going into the playoffs, because Kucherov and Stammer were hurt near the end of the year on LTIR. So that doesn't count against the cap. So once they're able to come back in the playoffs, they built the team accordingly, and that's some smart GMing again, Brisebois. So they got a good, well-oiled machine, as you mentioned, and a big part of that's from the drafting, and they are so great to watch. They're exciting. Braden Point is very good at hockey, just in case people forgot about that. Late third-round pick, was a stud in the World Juniors, came up in Tampa, grew up in the right system, and everything Tampa is doing, Montreal is having a hard time containing against. It's like the pressure, the speed, everything Tampa is beating them with. And it's at the same time, though, Scott, this isn't the same Montreal team that I feel that we saw against Vegas, Winnipeg, or even Toronto. I feel like they were more tenacious. I feel like, and there's the scratch tonight with just Barry Kotkaniemi, with that scratch, that's a head scratcher myself, pun intended. I really feel that, you got to have the skill on the ice against that. They're trying to maybe match a little bit of aggressiveness, but the biggest thing with Tampa is, despite their goaltending skill, they're so tenacious on the puck, and that's what Montreal has been lacking, as I mentioned a few moments ago. So I can't see Montreal getting swept in this series, though. I really really feel like they are going to pull off a win tonight in the Bell Center, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. I don't think Tampa wants to lose. They don't care where they win the cup. Winning back-to-back cups despite being the COVID years, it doesn't matter. They are the start of a dynasty in the 20s. They have players that are going to be with each other for a long time too. So, Scott, I don't know what you think. I think this is just too good of a team. If you're building a team in a video game, this is how you're building it. That's how well that they are built. They're exciting to watch. They're good from the net out. Well coached. John Cooper, who will be coaching the Canadian Olympic team. But it all started with your boy, Stevie Yzerman, and it seems like this team's going to be scary for a long time to come. But hey, the Stanley Cup Finals still not over. Never know, Montreal may pull off a miracle. It's like they pulled off a 3-1 miracle comeback against Toronto, a miracle sweep against Winnipeg, and a miracle win against Vegas. Still a lot of game left. It's not over until that 4th victory comes in and that 16th win, the clinching victory for the Stanley Cup winner. So it's interesting to see what happens tonight.
Dave, real quick, what's ahead for you and the Game Sports Show over in Soo, Ontario?
We will have a and one segment, myself and Scott. We do plan to record that tomorrow. We do have a couple recordings for special edition shows this week, ones that are pre-recorded, obviously. We will have a special edition upload this week. We're unsure which one. Maybe we'll do a poll. Maybe we'll get the fans to maybe make a choice, or maybe I'll just choose sporadically and make a surprise upload. Nonetheless, we will have a basketball upload this week. We will have a hockey upload as well once the Stanley Cup is crowned, which we'll probably expect to be this week for another Top Shelf edition. We do plan a Strike Zone edition as well this weekend. So we got 3 upcoming news shows that are planned, 2 that are confirmed, a special edition upload on top of that, lots of content coming. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe on all of our platforms, as well as don't hesitate to check out my social media if you want to see some quote-unquote cute engagement photos.
David McCaig Jr. joining us on the game. Dave, again, congratulations to you and Hannah. May the best of times be in your future. Certainly enjoy the engagement time. It's a great time, an exciting time. You both deserve it. And like myself, Dave, you're going to marry way above your pay grade.
Oh, way above. It's like you're in the East Coast Hockey League and I went up to the National Hockey League without knowing. It's that's the pun I'll use. But yes, you know what? Both Scott and I did overachieve. But nonetheless, that tells how good of people we are, Scotty.
I'm going with that. Couldn't agree more. David McCaig Jr. joining us on the game. Dave, have a great week. We'll talk to you next Monday night right here on ESPN 1400 for our next edition of the game.
Sounds good. Thank you, Scotty. Thank you to everyone again for all the support. Looking forward to chatting soon again, my friend.
All right, we're going to take a break. We come back. We'll talk Detroit sports with Butch Davis from Butch On Sports, all coming up on the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, The Game, ESPN 1400.
You can catch podcasts of The Game at thegamesportshow.com. Now let's get back to it with Scott Nason here on ESPN 1400.
Welcome back to The Game on ESPN 1400. Scott Nason with you. Want to thank our guests so far tonight, including LSSU assistant head hockey coach Zack Cisek and co-host of The Game and host of the Game Sports Show in Soo, Ontario, David McCaig Jr. Joining us now, co-host of The Game and host of his own show, Butch On Sports, Butch Davis, joining us from Metro Detroit. You can find Butch's show on his website, Simply Butch 2, that's TOO.podomatic.com. You can also find Butch On Sports on our podcast site, thegamesportshow.podbean.com. Brand new edition from last night on Butch On Sports, which I listened to help my show prep for tonight. Butch, how you doing on this steamy Monday night in Michigan?
Steamy and oppressive here, man. It's nice and warm, but boys and girls, this is what you asked for here.
Yep, this is what you asked for in December and January, and you certainly got it. And Butch, we broke the news about our good friend David McCaig getting engaged over the weekend. Does Butch Davis have any tips as far as how Dave can be a better fiancé and certainly a good husband?
I'm going to reserve those comments till I talk to Dave in person there, man. But congratulations to Dave on his new matrimony here, man. Jumping the broom.
Yes, jumping the broom indeed, and certainly looking forward when we can get all of us back live once that border opens to hear the words of wisdom of Butch Davis. Well, Butch, the words of wisdom of Butch Davis seem to be helping the Detroit Tigers, as the Tigers, a very successful week, winning 2 out of 3 at Cleveland and then coming home and taking 2 out of 3 against the White Sox for the first time, winning a series against the White Sox in about 3 years, as the Tigers won yesterday afternoon 6-5. The Tigers right now 38 and 46 and playing pretty good baseball. Butch, what are you seeing down there? What's going on with the Tigers? They're certainly getting more results as far as victories.
Well, I want to be decent about this particular situation. But again, I think it goes back to when they sent Victor Reyes down to the minor leagues and started to make the wholesale changes, such as Buck Farmer going down and getting work on himself. And it sent a message to the team in general that this team is not scared to bring up the young kids, which they have done that. And these young kids who have been sent up, they have not wasted their time in trying to impress. They went out there and got the job done and put some pressure on the veterans to come out there and be a lot more savvy. That and Jonathan Scope getting his hitting together. Miguel Cabrera is now warming up, getting his hitting together. Grossman's are being a lot more consistent and a lot more cagey in the batting ensemble for the Tigers. So with that mix of the young kids coming up as well as the veterans now performing, the Tigers seem to have a not so much a well-oiled machine. There's work to be in progress, but again, being a lot more competitive.
And Butch, we found out today that one of their base coaches has moved on or will be moving on, as Chip Hale, the third base coach this season, has accepted the head coaching job at the University of Arizona, which is a very good college baseball program. And this is the second coach that they've already lost this season, as assistant hitting coach Jose Cruz Jr. He returned to his alma mater, taking a head coaching job at Rice University. So while it's tough for the Tigers, obviously, to lose a coach, certainly good opportunities for those two gentlemen, and maybe showing that manager E.J. Hinch has and continues to put together a pretty good coaching staff.
Yeah, you know, next man up, as the old saying goes.
Yep.
And that means that particular coach that they bring in, they're going to have to be, again, a lot more savvy, a lot more influential, which they probably would be, have an edge on that, because they are behind the scenes and getting a lot of these young and elder statesmen of the Detroit Tigers ready to play baseball for everyday count, as per A.J. Hinch and how he wants to get it done.
And Butch, you look at July's schedule, certainly favorable for the Tigers. They start a 3-game set at Texas, never an easy place to play, but the Texas Rangers in last place in the AL West. And then they have a bunch of games against the Minnesota Twins before and after the All-Star break. I think they play them 9 times in that span. They have another 4-game series at home against Texas. They're at the Royals. They play the Twins again and the Orioles. Certainly the schedule lightens up a bit, and the Tigers, you know, they're not that far out. I mean, they're a ways out, but if they can put together what they've done over the past few weeks against teams maybe on paper they should beat, easier said than done, Tigers could find themselves all of a sudden in contention for at least a wild card spot.
Yeah, but that should be the last thing that come across their mind, because once it's implanted in their mind, they're not going to do very good there. Tigers, as you know, by history, even in the good, bad, and ugly days, the Tigers don't seem to do very well when the teams that they should be beating, they don't beat them, okay? They end up whipping their brains out there. So, again, that's a warning sign for when this team goes down to Texas during the night, that they have themselves together. They don't let down on what they are learning, what they're being taught, and what they have accomplished so far, and still stay in the state of mind that they're behind, okay? As long as they do that and keep aware of playing very good defense, the starting pitchers give them some quality innings, which they have been doing, not so much, very much so in cutting down on the earned run average per se. That needs to improve on the starting pitchers. But the bullpen come out there and do their job. I was so proud when watching the bullpen at the game on Saturday, how the bullpen from the 6th inning on just shut them down to the ground there, and we preserved that game of Eric Haas, and what he did that particular game was magnificent there, and a lot more surprises and dealt with Detroit Tigers. But you know what? They have to be a team to anticipate more, be able to be a lot more aggressive than the other team gives them credit for, and they'll probably be okay.
Butch, one of those relief pitchers, Gregory Soto, had a little bit of a rough outing yesterday, but he's the Tigers representative in the 2021 All-Star Game, which will be played at Coors Field in Denver on July 13th. And they announced all the starters, which you went through on Butch On Sports. Soto didn't have a good game yesterday, but certainly his body of work is probably obviously evident that he's on the All-Star team.
I'm gonna be honest, he hasn't had a good game a whole lot of days there. And I'm looking at the All-Star lineup that's already been printed, and there's a lot of players that I don't see on the roster, National League as well as American League, and also some teams that have, some people have been slighted there. I don't know how baseball can survive with these all-star games, period, when they don't put the legible people who should be deserving on the team. Either expand the roster or do something a lot better than just putting the everyday Smo on that particular lineup there, because there's no reason that should be happening. But again, he made it, so congratulations to him. Hopefully he's a good representative if he gets in the game. And hopefully he can be a better representative when he comes back to the Tigers, be back down to earth, and get some legitimate saves, because you can't give everybody a heart attack when you go in there to pitch maybe 1 or 2 innings.
Yeah, I certainly have questions as far as some of the selections, especially those, Butch, like a Mike Trout. Not that he's not a great baseball player, but he's hurt. Yeah, why is he there?
That's a joke. Why is Manny Machado is not on that particular lineup for the National League? There's many others I can mention that should be on those rosters there, American and National collectively here, and it's not there. So, again, All-Star games lately here the last 5 years, I'm talking about all the leagues there, they have not been impressive for me at all for me to take and advocate and tell people to watch it.
One guy that deserves to be on there, in my opinion, Butch, and certainly someone that we haven't seen in Major League Baseball, is Shohei Ohtani. He is on as pitcher and designated hitter. He's certainly been a lot of fun to watch. His team's not playing that well, but boy, he's had quite a start to the season.
But he's carrying the Angels right now, there, being that Trout is out for the rest of the season there. He's carrying that team, so whatever notoriety the Angels are getting there, they're glad to have it there. Now, they have a doggone good coach as well. They can spoon on that momentum that Ohtani is giving the team, and others come up there and do their job. Don't be surprised that the Angels are not in the hunt for at least you try to get in the playoffs there.
Butch Davis joining us on the game as we cover Detroit sports and, the world of sports. And Butch, let's move on to some very sad news that we found out about this morning involving the Columbus Blue Jackets goalie Matisse Kivenkleins. I hope I got that right. An initial autopsy report. Yeah, exactly. Determined the Columbus Blue Jackets goalie died from a percussive injury, the extreme force that can be caused by exploding fireworks. This happened in Novi. Kivenkleins died Sunday night after a fireworks mishap at a house party. He was just 24 years old. According to police reports and a team statement, he died of a head injury, which he suffered while trying to get out of a hot tub during the fireworks mishap. And, anytime these things happen, Butch, it makes you just appreciate life and it makes you appreciate what you have. Certainly a very tragic incident that happened real close to where you're living.
Yeah. Right down the road a piece in Novi, Michigan there. That's a pretty bad situation. The reports that have been coming in on how he actually really died, those have been very different from what I'm getting right now. I understand that whatever it was, he was in close proximity where it gutted his stomach out, okay? That's just plain and simple. The head was just maybe left, but it was not good for what went down for those few minutes or seconds that were pure pleasure for some, but most of us don't really understand why it's being done that way. So our condolences to the National Hockey League, this family, and also the Columbus Blue Jackets on their incident. It's not a pleasant one at all. I keep, maybe I'm old-fashioned, but it's better just to go watch a fireworks than to be involved in it. Even a sparkler, when it's lit up, it's 2,000 degrees there. And kids are waving them around. I just don't see the point in it.
Butch Davis joining us on the game. Butch, we're going to take our top of the hour break. When you and I come back, we have a lot more to cover in the world of sports, including the Stanley Cup Finals, along with the Red Wings, Pistons, Lions, and all sorts of goodness in the world of sports. All coming up on the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, The Game, ESPN 1400.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Madigan Pingator, your independent auto owners agency on West Water Street in the Soo.
O'Connor's Chrysler Dodge Truck and Jeep in Pickford is your full-service dealership, servicing Pickford and the surrounding areas with pride for more than 50 years. O'Connor's top-notch body shop includes a state-of-the-art frame straightener. O'Connor's is also a proud supporter of community events. Its sales team has the experience to know which model is right for each customer. And with financing available to back your purchase, you can drive away today in your dream vehicle. Local people, local pride. Stop in today on M129 at O'Connor.
The last tractor you'll ever need is here. Get into a Massey Ferguson compactor utility tractor and accomplish more than ever before. These versatile tractors are known for their unbeatable power, smart fuel economy, and upgraded creature comforts. And with their ability to multitask through any job around the yard or farm, they'll provide you with outstanding value for years to come. Do all you need to do and more with Massey Ferguson compact and utility tractors. Visit Skinner's of Pickford to find the right model for your operation. Let's get to the second half of the game here on ESPN 1400, WKNW, Sault Ste. Marie's sports leader. It's the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Now, here's Scott Nason.
And welcome back to the game on ESPN 1400. Scott Nason with you as we continue to be joined by co-host of the game and host of Butch On Sports, Butch Davis in Metro Detroit. Butch, before we get to the Stanley Cup Finals, there was some news with the Detroit Red Wings as they have hired assistant coach Alex Tanguay, a former adversary with the Colorado Avalanche, as Steve Yzerman, general manager, made the announcement last Wednesday, filling an opening that was created when the team and Dan Blyzma decided he would not return next season. Tanguay was an assistant coach the last 2 years for the Iowa Wild in the American Hockey League, and during his 16-year NHL career, he had 863 points, including 2 stints with the Colorado Avalanche. Tanguay, assistant coach for the Red Wings. Butch, your thoughts?
Can't beat them, join them. You know what
right,
I'm saying?
Right.
Tanguay was into a lot of those particulars with the Red Wings back in the day there. Very good player, I might add. A very good basic player. I'm talking about forward who can also play some defense. He was very good at that. I can remember that much about him there. It's a move that it has to do something with maybe improving the situation with the Red Wings and not taking a step back. So, we'll see how that particular mix come about there throughout the season.
Butch, the Tampa Bay Lightning go for back-to-back Stanley Cup championships tonight in Game 4 at Montreal at 8 o'clock as the Lightning lead that series 3-0, as Montreal's hoping to extend the series Tampa Bay mayor was quoted today as saying that she hopes they lose that game so they can have family and friends join them in Tampa. I don't think the coaching staff and players of Tampa maybe want that as much, as the government of Canada did not allow family members to come to Montreal to what they hope is to celebrate another Stanley Cup final. Stanley Cup, Tampa Bay, what do you think? Are they going to do it tonight? And your thoughts overall on the Stanley Cup Finals?
Looks like the mayor had a little bit too much wine there. You know
You're right.
That was just a right statement that she made there. You know, why not Tampa Bay want to put Montreal away if they're able to do that tonight in Montreal there? So I don't know, classless stuff there. That's really this will be the same mayor crying when the tornado hit this Wednesday or something. I don't know, but looking at the Stanley Cups the way it is right now, Montreal been hitting Tampa Bay per se there, but again, Tampa Bay has been absorbing it very well, and they take their chances and have made some chances with Montreal with some of those hits and scoring some goals there. Well-oiled machine. You can't take nothing away from that there. Montreal going to have to bring it tonight, or else this series and the hockey season is over.
And you look at one of those players, Butch, on Tampa, Nikita Kucherov, obviously a very well-known name in the world of hockey, but this is a guy that didn't even play during the regular season, and he's leading all scorers in the playoffs with 32 points, 8 goals and 24 assists, and he already has 5 points through 3 games of the Cup final against the Montreal Canadiens. And one of the things we talked with Dave McCaig is how this Tampa team was built, and it was built by current Red Wings general manager Steve Yzerman, and they did it the right way through smart drafts, through smart signings, and certainly Kucherov is one of those players. He's just been outstanding all playoff season.
Yeah, well, he got a smart coach to lead him too.
Yep.
You can't say too much about John Cooper, but he's been fantastic throughout this whole this run. This has been since 2014 with Tampa Bay. This is just something very special. Last year's win of the Stanley Cup wasn't so pronounced because of the pandemic and all, and you couldn't do too much, but I'm betting 10-1 to a dozen of donuts. The Tampa Bay fans are ready to let loose if and when Tampa puts this victory away for Montreal and be able to enjoy it a lot better socially and all that. So this is long overdue. It's long coming. He's done the job. Hopefully he can now do in Detroit, speaking of Steve Yzerman, with going about this in a way where we don't load this place up with a bunch of veteran players. Let's get these youth who you drafted the opportunity and chance to kind of mesh with each other. That's right now is what Detroit's going to be going through, maybe for at least a couple of years.
Butch, let's move on to the NBA and the Detroit Pistons. A pretty quiet week this week for the Pistons after last week finding out they have the number 1 draft pick. I was unable to find any news as far as Detroit Pistons. I know you're closer to the source, Butch. What's going on there? Are they hunkering down in their draft room, getting ready? What's going on with that franchise?
They done went underground probably the doggone day that they got that first-round pick guaranteed their way. They have not said absolutely really nothing, no camps. There was a draft combine, last weekend. Nothing too much said about that in particular there. So, again, the Pistons are being very quiet, not drawing a lot of information to the general public or tipping their hat on who they're going to get, how they're going to use that draft pick, and that's it right now. It's been very, very quiet.
Butch, after one of the strangest postseasons that we've seen, the NBA Finals are here. They will start tomorrow night in Phoenix as the Phoenix Suns looking for their first ever NBA Finals championship, take on the Milwaukee Bucks, who haven't won since 1971. And lots of talk I heard on ESPN today was, this maybe not the ideal finals as far as a ratings perspective. You don't have, a lot of big names, although you have some pretty big names in Chris Paul and Giannis. I just wanted your overall thoughts before we look a little more at the finals as far as Milwaukee and Phoenix. Are you excited for it?
On the comments that were made by ESPN or the actual finals in general?
I think on this year's finals, some people are thinking that these aren't, marquee markets as far as Phoenix and Milwaukee. You don't have the superstars, maybe outside of Giannis, although I think Booker and crew have certainly some. But I think a lot of people are saying it's not a very sexy finals. I disagree 100%. I think it's a great finals. I wanted your thoughts.
I think it's a damn good final, okay?
I do too.
These are two teams that went out there and beat the odds, beat the best teams, or supposedly the best teams in their particular divisions or league there, and they made the best of it. Milwaukee, they went out and went after New Jersey and took care of them. Atlanta came in their pathway, they took care of them. It hasn't been easy for the team, especially with the injuries that have hit or circumstances that have hit both teams there. I think Booker gets broken nose. Chris Paul, we know what happened with that with Covert. There's a lot of teams and members who, especially with Milwaukee, are stepping up. Porter's stepping up. Lopez coming out there, stepping up. And this is what a basketball team should look like. Your next man up, if you got some problems there, and you got some capable human beings on the bench who come on in there and make ample contributions, as happened in Phoenix's way, as in same as General. So this is not about LeBron versus Joe Blow or
right,
whatever it may be, or versus who. This is about the two best teams right now in the NBA right now going after each other under conditions that are not, always were the best. And they're still grinding it out in a season that I'm quite sure is going to be very fulfilling for both teams at this present time and being in the finals, but very fulfilling for the team that end up winning all of this.
What I like about this, Butch, is you look back in 1968, the NBA expanded from 12 to 14 teams. Those two newcomers were Phoenix and Milwaukee, and neither team has had a lot of success. Milwaukee did in the 70s, winning it in 1971 with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robinson. They haven't been to the finals since the year I was born, 1974. And Phoenix, they've been in two finals in 1976 and 1993, losing both. And, these are both franchises that have had very good fan support throughout the years. Even in the lean years, they've always seemed to have good fan support. And I'm a big fan, Butch, as a neutral observer, of just seeing somebody else different win it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, the imbalance in the NBA is very much so documented, okay? There were teams that had very good players. There were teams that had very bad players. It's a huge mix of between teams that have very good general managers and very good basketball people versus teams that were in this just to try to get two or three good nickels. I think everyone has, every team in the NBA right now has profit from the amount of talent that is coming into the league, especially from overseas and whatnot and around the world. That has improved basketball heck of a lot there. You look at Lithuania this weekend there, there are no losers right now. They're going to Olympics,
Yeah.
Damn the NBA. They're the first time going to the Olympics. So excitement in basketball and the pure way of playing the game, I think it's coming back where some of the networks may be influenced. You should watch it because this particular person is playing or that particular person is playing. This game is really evolving because you get to see players that you don't normally know anything about or paid any attention to. And they're going out there putting in yeoman performance there. Middleton, they were talking about that man like a dog, okay?
Yep.
But when the chips hit where they may, he came and showed on up. The same thing with the other guy that they had over there with Milwaukee there. His name is on the tip of my tongue, and I can't get it out here. But anyway, it's been a matter of the benches coming out there showing their worth, and it's been one fantastic series there. Even down to the losing team with Atlanta. If it wasn't for their benches, they're not nowhere where they're at, even being as close as they are, okay? So I think this year, the basketball pluralist is going to enjoy the series because it's more or less an even Steven there as far as what both teams have went through to get there.
Yeah, I agree with you, Butch. I think it's going to be a great series. Certainly the health of Giannis is a big indicator, I should say a key in this series. I mean, if you saw that injury and the fact that he could even be back in this series, I think you would have been surprised at that. And you look at what Chris Paul's doing. I mean, this is a guy that's really one of the best point guards of all time, but he doesn't have that ring. And as a matter of fact, Butch, if I'm not mistaken, not one player on either squad has won before. So certainly we're going to see a new team win and new players win, and I think that's a win-win all around.
You get to see Andre Ayton, and you get to see Booker, and some of the other players that you have not heard of, and maybe all season long, that are very big contributors of why these teams are where they're at right now.
Who do you like, Butch? If you had to give me a pick right now, if I was a betting man, which I am, which team do you like to win the series?
Not a damn one of them. But really. No, I would get, really and truly, it's hard for me to gauge at this present time who I would say, if I was a betting man, I would say Milwaukee has more of the edge in this particular series than maybe Phoenix would have. But again, it's depending on the benches and how they come about there. And that's what's going to really tip this series over, how the bench is there. Because there's going to be some more hurts on the floor. There's going to be some more catastrophes happening there. It's all depending on the next man up and what they do to contribute for their team in order for them to win.
NBA Finals again starts tomorrow night in Phoenix at 9 p.m. We're going to take a break here on the game. When Butch and I come back, we will talk about the Detroit Lions, the NFL, and a whole bunch of other things going on in the world of sports. All coming up on the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, The Game, ESPN 1400.
Done being stuck in the house? Ready for some summer fun on the water? Stop by Central Savings Bank for that boat or jet ski loan. Don't want to be on the water? That's okay. Come see a lender about a camper or maybe a home equity for that cabin in the woods or a side-by-side or ATV. Remember, you can always apply online at centralsavingsbank.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Ask what we can do for you.
Whatever you're up to this summer, Central Savings Bank has the loan products to help get it done. Whether it's buying a boat, side-by-side, camper or cabin, tractor, a new house, or a ticket out of here, we can help. Call, stop by, or apply online at centralsavingsbank.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Central Savings Bank. Ask what we can do for you.
At Old Mission Bank, we're ready to make your home ownership dreams a reality. We're excited to announce that we now offer USDA home loans with options for 100% financing. You heard that right, 100% financing for qualifying USDA mortgages. Come see our experienced lenders to discuss your personal options and let us find the right mortgage for your needs, because it's what we do best. Act now to pre-qualify by calling us or apply directly online at ombloans.com. We're Old Mission Bank, home of your experienced local mortgage professionals. FDIC insured, equal housing lender.
Summer, the change of seasons is sure to bring a smile to your face. Don't let your mood sour at the prospect of dealing with that unreliable mower for yet another year. Rely on the experts at Gaylor Thompson Sales and Service. Their highly skilled technicians can help. Gaylor Thompson Sales and Service takes pride in their work, and they know that an ounce of prevention can mean years of reliability down the road. Call them to talk about your service needs, or stop in and chat with Paul and the gang today. Gaylor Thompson Sales and Service, just off I-75, exit 373, Rudyard, Michigan.
Let's get back to the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Let's get back to the game on ESPN 1400.
Welcome back to the game on ESPN 1400. You can also hear our show online, podcast-wise, as we post our shows usually about half an hour after we get off the air at 8 o'clock. You can find those shows at thegamesportshow.podbean.com. Scott Nason with you as we continue to be joined by co-host Butch Davis from Butch On Sports. And Butch, last week the Lions announced their training camp will open July 31st in Allen Park. It will include not just players and staff, but fans, as the team announced that fans can return to watch practices with 9 dates available for all fans and 2 open exclusively to season ticket holders. The training camp will include activities for fans of all ages, including ticket and merchandise giveaways, an autographed football toss after practice, photo opportunities, and mascot Rory and the Lions cheerleaders, tailgate games, face paintings, and balloon artists. Looks like a fun time had by all, Butch. Training camp less than a month away for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, especially for the season ticket holders.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, the first practice and the last practice, they get it all to themselves. Probably the last practice, maybe they'll all get real football stuff and pictures with the players and I don't know what, But anyway, it's good to see fans back there. The little circus atmosphere that they have down there at Allen Park there, which is, it's put together by them. It's not bad down there. It's not bad at all. The only thing you're doing is you're watching a practice, and you can't hear a lot of things there, but you certainly can see all the goals about in order to get ready for the season, including the fight every now and then that would break out, and fans would stand on up and find out who did this. Trying to find a roster because, all the numbers now with all these new players, about 90 players in the camp. They got to really seek them out and all there. But it'll be pretty good. Hopefully, and I say hopefully, that nothing will come about this. The new variances are out left and right. Again, one of the big questions is how they're going to protect everyone and everybody dealing with an honor system, maybe, in order to let people in and out of the place there. Because, yes, they will be checking for, standard covert temperature checking and asking you questions there. But, again, there's nothing like having the shot and being acclimated to not being scrutinized by those particulars because you do have the shot there. So we'll see how things go. Hopefully nothing goes wrong in that category I just mentioned about COVID or anything else where people or players or staff members getting sick.
Butch, a couple other NFL stories I wanted to talk about, and you talked about this last night on your edition of Butch on Sports involving the Washington football team. An independent investigation that spanned 15 years and involved more than 150 people found the Washington football team responsible for, we'll just call it misconduct. The team has been fined $10 million as a collective franchise for this misconduct after this investigation, which was a toxic workplace, according to the findings for female employees. The NFL acknowledged that the Washington football team's action were highly unprofessional, as Tanya Schneider, who's the owner's wife, Dan Schneider, is the new co-CEO and will assume responsibilities for all day-to-day team operations. Certainly, it seems, according to this investigation and the people in it, that there was a lot of bad things happening with the Washington football team, Butch.
A lot of blatant, very wrong things to a human being, okay, in order to keep a job.
Yeah.
It's sad that, again, these things are still going on in the world that we live in today, especially when you go to glamour sports teams. Nothing's typical that you may have one or two people draw that line or do things in order for it to snap back and get notoriety like what's going on in Washington there. It's always good when you're on the goody part of the shoe there, but It's not good when my father used to say when the crap hit the fan. In this case, Washington has hit it. The change will be good. I'm quite sure Ms. Wilkinson, who did the investigation, is going to be ears on and finding out, or knowing that Washington is obeying by the rules and regulations and treating people with dignity and respect there. I'm quite sure we have not heard the last of teams in the NFL or any organized sports having problems in this particular field that what Washington's going through right now. There's a lot of cleaning out need to be done.
Yeah, I agree with you, Butch. I don't think we've heard the last of it either. The other thing I wanted to talk about, Butch, with you is just happened today involving Green Bay quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Thankful for the opportunity to work on his mental health. During a news conference today, the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers spoke at length about the steps taken to improve and preserve his mental health amid questions about his long-term future with the franchise. Rodgers is approaching his 17th year with the Packers, said he has focused on how to take care of his spiritual and mental states. According to Rodgers today, he said, "I'm very thankful for the opportunity to work on my mental health. I haven't dealt with bouts of depression or anything that I think for whatever reason are okay to talk about if you're talking about mental health. I've just been really trying to think about what puts me in the best frame of mind. What habits can I form that allow me to feel most in my body, most present, happiest?" And that's what I've been doing. And Butch, we've seen this throughout the summer. We saw that with the French Open and Naomi Osaka, who also needed to take some time away for her mental health. And the field I work in, Butch, this is near and dear to me. And I think the comments by Rodgers today certainly, I think, took a lot for him to say that. And certainly it's something we don't talk about maybe in the sports profession enough, in my opinion, as far as not just physical health of athletes, is mental health, because the two go hand in hand as far as I'm concerned.
With anybody, okay?
Right.
And, it's not peaches and cream for us either as media people to go on the day-to-day journey that we go on there, because many people expect so much from us that, that's not given to us. It's earned through just hard work, perseverance, and then it's just really... It's really stickling what this man has to go through. He went through the same thing with the Brett Favre situation in Green Bay and his early part of his career. He has went through the wows and flutters of good and bad teams on Green Bay. He's had a very publicized relationship with the race car driver that they ended up breaking up. He's been the host on Jeopardy and a lot of other little things, a golf tournament. This upcoming Tuesday he'll be featured on. There's a lot this guy's doing, and the one thing that people don't calculate so much when you have this jet set life, or maybe for us, a necessary life to take care of our families and yes, sometimes our friends, is that we don't get time in that space to breathe some doggone time and look at the accomplishments, or just get the rest that is needed in order to endure all of this there. And so I tip my hat off to him and him taking the time out, maybe being vocal, because the only way people understand what you're going through is you tell them, and not someone else have to prognosticate or speculate or tell you or hear it from some major network what you should be or what's going on in your world.
Butch, before we go to break, the University of Michigan last week states that they are requiring their athletes to take the COVID-19 vaccine and must be fully vaccinated by the beginning of practices no later than August 1st for the upcoming 2021-22 season. I wanted your thoughts on that. Haven't heard a lot of teams or universities that have required or are going to require that. I wanted your thoughts.
But normally, at the latter part of August, the 1st of September, that's when everything hits the fan. Schools get back in order. People are back to work from the summer vacation. The whole Who Shot John, and we just had a news flash last week here in Detroit about the Henry Ford Hospital organization. At September, everyone who works there must have a shot or must be vaccinated, or they won't be having a job there. This is going to be something that's going to be very much so in the picture, and if it's not now, and we're getting bits and pieces of it right now, it will be in August and in September when many people or many companies or many ensembles are getting back together again and ensuring that health and welfare is taken not for granted, but is taken care of fully, because this is a lot. We went through at least 16, 17 months. We don't want to be this way. So what is the general public doing in order so we can go back to maybe close to normal as we possibly can?
Yeah, get your vaccine. We're going to see more and more of this. I agree, and it seems like the smart thing to do, Butch. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but if we want to get back to normal, I just think it's something that everyone needs to do.
It's just something that has to be done. And again, I waver to the fact, if you don't know what you're doing, we all have doctors that we go to. Some of us primary doctors, regular doctors. Feel free, if necessary, to call them, ask for an appointment.
Right.
If you're not sure of it, ask your doctor, and they'll be able to gauge your primary health versus not or having the shot in your best interest there. Let them let you know there. That's the best way to do that if you don't know.
Butch, we're going to take our bottom of the hour break. When you and I come back, we still have more sports to cover, including the PGA event, which happened around your neck of the woods. We'll talk Olympics. We'll talk Wimbledon. We'll talk College Baseball World Series. We'll talk the Euro 2020 soccer tournament and more. All coming up on the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, The Game, ESPN 1400.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Madigan Pingator, your independent auto owners agency on West Water Street in the Soo.
O'Connor's Chrysler Dodge Truck and Jeep in Pickford is your full-service dealership, servicing Pickford and the surrounding areas with pride for more than 50 years. O'Connor's top-notch body shop includes a state-of-the-art frame straightener. O'Connor's is also a proud supporter of community events. Its sales team has the experience to know which model is right for each customer. And with financing available to back your purchase, you can drive away today in your dream vehicle. Local people, local pride. Stop in today on M129 at O'Connor.
The last tractor you'll ever need is here. Get into a Massey Ferguson compact or utility tractor and accomplish more than ever before. These versatile tractors are known for their unbeatable power, smart fuel economy, and upgraded creature comforts. And with their ability to multitask through any job around the yard or farm, they'll provide you with outstanding value for years to come. Do all you need to do and more with Massey Ferguson compact and utility tractors. Visit Skinner's at Pickford to find the right model for your operation. Done being stuck in the house? Ready for some summer fun on the water? Stop by Central Savings Bank for that boat or jet ski loan. Don't want to be on the water? That's okay. Come see a lender about a camper or maybe a home equity for that cabin in the woods or a side-by-side or ATV. Remember, you can always apply online at centralsavingsbank.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Ask what we can do for you.
Whatever you're up to this summer, Central Savings Bank has the loan products to help get it done. Whether it's buying a boat, side-by-side, camper or cabin, tractor, a new house, or a ticket out of here, we can help. Call, stop by, or apply online at centralsavingsbank.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Central Savings Bank. Ask what we can do for you.
You can catch podcasts of the game at thegamesportshow.com. Now let's get back to it with Scott Nason here on ESPN 1400.
7:32 on the game, ESPN 1400. Scott Nason with you as we continue to be joined by co-host Butch Davis from Butch On Sports for our roundtable. And Butch, the PGA Tour made a trek to Detroit this weekend in the Rocket Mortgage Classic. It was won by Australian Cam Davis, his first ever career win on the PGA Tour, as he defeated Troy Merritt in a playoff, as Merritt missed a 6-footer for par and came up just shy of his third victory. And a lot of the talk, Butch, was about Phil Mickelson. Mickelson finished 3 under par, but there was a report by some media outlets in Detroit about a situation over 20 years ago that really had no business, in my opinion, to do with the golf tournament that was going on. Mickelson was not happy with that report, as I would agree with him. I wouldn't be happy either, but it looks like they've made up, and Mickelson will be back if that tour is back in Detroit. Your thoughts on the Rocket Mortgage Classic, Butch? It certainly garnered a lot of attention, and in some cases the wrong kind of attention.
I mean, you snickered at me last week when I gave you my, my answer about this particular.
Yep, I did.
You asked me will I be putting a lot of no. And this is the reason why, okay? The Rocket Mortgage is supposed to be a major golf tournament per se there. But again, and I always mention it, sometimes they go by the old standbys instead of letting in everyone be part of the process there. And I think right now the market, Rocket Mortgage and Barry Gilbert is going to be looking at that very hard. And not being so inclusive when it comes down to people having access to this particular tournament there, because it's not drawing a whole lot of the namesakes for there, and those namesakes, they end up getting out of there in the first 2 days. Now they're going home, and most of them it gets a guaranteed check. That's why, and let's be honest, that's how they come into town, because they're guaranteed a certain amount of amenities in order to participate in the classic there. This classic remind me, and I hate to say it and put it in this kind of frame of mind, but remind me of the Ford Field College Classic right after Christmas there.
Yeah.
Okay, you put these big blow-ups there, and it's not getting to the focus of why we're having this there. It's not so much the fans, but the newer golfers that are out here. And, we got, in this particular classic, 3 golfers that are not named. Cam Davis, this is his first tournament major tournament that he has won. We don't get no news on everybody who's taking part of it and whatnot there. And I think this classic will be a lot better if, for one, to get everybody on board a lot earlier. Number 2, be able to get some commitments from all the golfers, not so much the named player golfers, but all the golfers that are going to be in town. There's got to be some connection a certain way where if a story needs to be told or a media person want to get familiarized with particular golfers and whatnot, they're able to do it. And you'll be able to spread the news and give a lot more ethnicity to the tournament itself, which brings out the fans, which draws their curiosity a lot more, because they'll be a lot more intelligent on who's taking part in this stuff there, and it gives them a better feel of who they are. We all like to be able to touch and have an idea of knowing who's coming into play, and we know a little bit about them. And right now, this classic is falling short from doing that.
Butch, the Olympics will be starting here in a few weeks, and one of the participants in the Olympics in the 100 meter for the women, Sha'Carri Richardson, she was suspended from the U.S. Olympic team this past Friday after testing positive for THC. You talked about this on your show last night. Richardson, alluding to her suspension, stood up and accepted responsibility, saying, "I am human." Apparently, her biological mother passed away recently, and so she, in her words, she was human and was busted, if you will, for THC, which is marijuana. I wanted your thoughts on that because, this is in a location in Oregon where marijuana is legal, and it certainly isn't performance enhancing a drug and not like a steroid or something like that. Lots of celebrities have joined her in, thinking this is maybe not the best thing, kind of ridiculous in some people's opinion. I wanted your thoughts.
Well, just like sometimes liquor and wine and beer is more or less, as we call it, recreational, okay?
Right.
Many who smoke marijuana feel that way as well and deal with it very responsibly, I might add there, okay? In this case, the Olympic Committee has rules and regulations. She voided that. She got caught, okay, in a situation that when she wanted to get her meat, she was going to get tested for it, and those results came on out. It was a day before, 2 days before the actual race she had is where she induced a marijuana joint. Again, she's a human being. Again, it was maybe me and you might want to sit on down and after some bad news, maybe sit on down and reminisce by having a beer or something of that nature, or pop. This is how she dealt with it. So you can't scold her for it. Like I said, I commend her for, just saying, not making any excuses, okay? She did it. I'm sorry. My head wasn't in the right direction, which she explained why. And I think we should take it as face value. It's up now to the committees of the Olympic committees and other agencies per se, not only in this country but around the world, to come to terms about marijuana, being that it is legal in a lot of states in this country. And of course, I want to mention, this is not federal now. Okay?
Right.
Federal says that this is not cool. Okay, the states and municipalities there, locally and otherwise, they have to say on this and that and the other, and decriminalizing the particulars there. So, again, I commend her. I wish a whole lot of other people would do the same, instead of we going through this who shot John, who kissed Mary, and dragging people through the mud, knowing that they did it or did not do it.
Butch, Wimbledon is going on as the quarterfinals are set. Top seed Novak Djokovic advances along with Roger Federer. No Americans left in either the men's or women's brackets, as Sebastian Korda, he lost. But you have two Canadians that are in the quarterfinals for the first time, Shapovalov and Auger Aliassime. And for the women today, Coco Gauff, who had a great tournament, she's going to be back for more. She lost along with Madison Keys. Have you been watching much Wimbledon during the past week or so?
A bit here and there and everywhere. There is a lot going on. If you notice in Wimbledon, and as the tennis has been going on, there's a lot more names that we've not heard of.
Yep.
Okay, and some of the elder players, they're being disqualified themselves because of injury or not being able to make it here recently. There, and some is because of COVID in general. Again, is not the thing for them to go through or be part of the particular pressure and stuff there. So the entertainment is at value, okay, but again, the excitement that I would get from previously some tennis matches it hasn't been there at least this year. from the general public, at least from where I sit at.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see that in the men's too, Butch, because Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic can't play forever, and they're starting to get towards the end of their reign, and you're seeing that in the women's with Serena Williams getting injured and a lot of names. As a matter of fact, today a British girl made the fourth round for the first time ever. She was ranked 300 and something in the world. She ended up losing today, but certainly was a good story, and you don't have those same names in there, and I think that's good for tennis because it gives opportunities for those two Canadians. I mean, what a story that is for a country like Canada, who maybe isn't known for great tennis players, although they've had some real good ones. You got two guys in the quarterfinals, and they're both looking good.
Well, again, the world's catching up to a lot of things that ordinarily was dominated by the United States or maybe one of the teams such as Switzerland or England or Australia there. The world is catching up. And on the other hand there, I don't think we do a whole hell of a lot in this country, per se, for the men's finals to be buck naked for many years. It has been marketing tennis the way we should have. Again, this is a sport that we don't do a lot of marketing in high school. Some high schools have it. Most high schools don't have it. We're talking about camps and whatnot, where maybe if you're in a well-to-do, maybe suburban area, you would get camps floated their area. You hear about a lot of this stuff when there may be tournaments or something in your area there, but places like Metropolitan Detroit, you don't hear a whole heck of a lot about tennis or tennis stars or the kids are wanting to take part in tennis and maybe middle school, high school, or whatever it may be, because, again, it's not marketed that way in this country too much. And, again, U.S. tennis ensemble need to take a very serious look on how they market this particular product in this country.
That's a great point, Butch, because just in this area, just before I got into high school, we did have a tennis team, and there are several schools in the UP that have tennis teams and do quite well. But if you want to find an outdoor court in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan that you can play on, there's two courts that you can play on. There's just not there's no camps. There's just nothing there. And I think that's a great point. And that's why you're not seeing a lot of Americans that, have made it. Look at Wimbledon, no Americans in the quarterfinals. And I think you hit the nail on the head there as the USTA and the Tennis Association needs to do a better job of marketing because, it seems to work in all these other countries, Belarus, Luxembourg. You got star players that are doing well. United States, we got a lot of people, but we're not really putting out the effort as far as getting it to the youth and getting younger players involved.
It was not that, we're not capable of doing it. We've been doing it for a very long time, okay? When I came up through the ranks in high school, which was a lot of years ago, every high school or middle school, you had a tennis court out there on the playground or somewhere close to a park or on the grounds in general. Every high school had a tennis team, a golf team. And it's now that these particular sports that were mandatory in the fleet of high school or middle school athletics, you don't see them. And there's times that other schools will have to merge with other particular schools in order to maybe one or two players being able to participate in that there. So it's not that they're not capable. Once upon a time, we were the rulers because we had it that way, and now we don't. So I think, again, U.S. tennis needs to get off their duff and start influencing some of the public schools as well as some of the neighboring smaller cities. The tennis courts that are not being used or grounds to picnic or have a campfire at, where they got a net up there and the beautiful facilities, start using this stuff by, putting up camps and whatnot for these kids so they can be involved in it. Even give away equipment and stuff would be a great start.
Butch, we're going to take our final break of the night. When you and I come back, we still have some more sports to cover, along with our thumbs up and thumbs down for the week. All coming up on the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, The Game, ESPN 1400.
At Old Mission Bank, we're ready to make your home ownership dreams a reality. We're excited to announce that we now offer USDA home loans with options for 100% financing. You heard that right, 100% financing for qualifying USDA mortgages. Come see our experienced lenders to discuss your personal options and let us find the right mortgage for your needs, because it's what we do best. Act now to pre-qualify by calling us or apply directly online at ombloans.com. We're Old Mission Bank, home of your experienced local mortgage professionals. FDIC insured, equal housing lender.
Summer, the change of seasons is sure to bring a smile to your face. Don't let your mood sour at the prospect of dealing with that unreliable mower for yet another year. Rely on the experts at Gaylor Thompson Sales and Service. Their highly skilled technicians can help. Gaylor Thompson Sales and Service takes pride in their work, and they know that an ounce of prevention can mean years of reliability down the road. Call them to talk about your service needs, or stop in and chat with Paul and the gang today. Gaylor Thompson Sales and Service, just off I-75, exit 373, Rudyard, Michigan.
Let's get back to the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Let's get back to the game on ESPN 1400.
7:48 on the game, ESPN 1400. Scott Nason with you as we continue to be joined by co-host Butch Davis from Butch On Sports for our roundtable. Butch, the Copa America, which is South America's version of their soccer championship going on right now. Brazil just went up on Peru 1-0. The winner will take on the winner of tomorrow night's Argentina-Colombia match. And in the Euros, we have the semifinals set. And boy, some good matchups in my opinion. You have Spain taking on Italy tomorrow at 3, and you have England taking on Denmark Wednesday with the championship game set for Sunday. And Butch, you and I both were talking last week about England and just how they've played. They've yet to give up a goal. They won their quarterfinal 4-0 over Ukraine and knocked off Germany, which was kind of their Achilles heel. Have you been watching the Euros, and what do you think about the matchups coming up this week?
Yes. And I watched it I took a look at Denmark yesterday there, and Czechoslovakia there. That was okay there for a minute. Then the comeback, then they steadied down, and I saw England. Citizen Kane, man, is going on the nut.
Yes, he is.
There, right now, and England is just looking spot on. And it's very safe to say that they got a very good chance of dancing the night away if they can get through these next 10 days.
Yeah, both those matches will be at Wembley Stadium, the semifinals and the finals. England has not won a major tournament since 1966 when they hosted the World Cup, and they haven't even been to a final since then, Butch. And you've, I believe, lived or worked over in England, and I've lived over there for a few years. And the British tabloid press, they are something, and they have been all over England manager Gareth Southgate as far as some of his decisions, whether he should be playing this player or that player. The fact is, England probably could field 2 teams in this tournament and do very well, and all they've done is not given up a goal and beaten or tied everyone they have. Certainly the party in London and all across England Sunday could be very, very big.
Let me tell you something. The New York press is a tic-tac.
Yep.
What goes on in London, England, with the press over there, I tell you right now, you're right about that. England can have 2 or 3 teams, good teams, by the fact, competing in the Euros. They split up England a little bit, say the South and the North, and maybe the West or something like that there, but they don't, and they so happen to have some very good players out there this year that are citizens of London or citizens of the United Kingdom, and they're doing very well. Like I said, Kane is ruthless right now in the play that he's dealing with right now with England there. So, and the goaltending is spot. I mean, we're looking at not no token game where no one's shooting, that popping that ball to the goaltender. These goaltenders are out there making some dang gone good, legit saves there, and it's been pretty doggone riveting there for me to watch a game that lasts for 90 minutes, and you blink maybe for 15 seconds, you will miss a goal. So it hasn't been that way, at least so far since the games I have watched. They have kept me motivated to keep watching it.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm really hoping for an Italy-England final. That certainly would be one for the books. Butch, a couple more subjects real quick before we get to our thumbs up and thumbs down. Last Wednesday, Mississippi State won the College World Series over Vanderbilt, the first ever championship in a program down in Starksville in over 100 years. Certainly quite an accomplishment for that school and that group of kids.
They're still partying in this state.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
All kind of moonshine is rolling, man. Shoot. They're still singing and dancing. That is very doggone good. You know, I would never thought to know that Mississippi, and the first thing when you talk about Mississippi, you talk about the Mannings.
Right.
You think about some other things down there in Mississippi. Some good times for me, you know. But it's... I've never known that they not have a championship team now. You know, I'm trying to retract for the football team that was down there in the AFL. Some other things that are going down there. The Birmingham Bulls, the hockey team.
Yep.
For years and years has been very successful down there. One of the few down south teams that has survived when it comes down to hockey. Is very, very surprising that Alabama one day, they don't look at that particular area of Birmingham and don't set some type of major minor league team up there bigger than what they have right now there. But it was shocking to me for them not to have a championship.
Butch, yesterday in New York, a world record was set by Joey Chestnut as he won yet again another Nathan's hot dog eating contest. His previous record was 75. He ate 76 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes to win the event. Can you do that?
Never will.
No.
I cannot stand. I can't take it. Now, watch people dipping bread and water in a hot dog. I don't know, they're raw cooked here, man. No. They're just stuffing down their throat and crap all over their mouth and stuff there. I can't take it, man. I just couldn't take it, you know. I stomach watching 2 minutes of this particular yesterday there. I stomached that there. I took more in on the lemonade drinking contest. This is one guy put down a whole gallon of lemonade, man, in about 2 minutes there. But, I can't do it, man. I don't know how you could do it.
I just read the report. I can't watch it either, Butch. I have a queasy enough stomach as it is. Watching that just is not my thing. Butch, we got about 5 minutes left. Let's get to our thumbs up and thumbs down for the week, and then we'll find out what you're doing with Butch on Sports this week. I don't have any thumbs down this week. I have 2 thumbs up. Thumbs up to the Euro 2020 soccer tournament that is going on in Europe as we speak. There's been a lot of goals scored. I've been very happy with the coverage. I don't get the BBC, but I think ESPN has done a very good job with their in-game coverage. They got some great announcers, and certainly a lot of the teams that I rooted for early, including Finland and Scotland, are out. But 2 teams I root for still is Italy and England. I have no Italian descent. I have no English descent, but England was kind of the team that I adopted while living over in England, and just seeing the passion that the fans have. And it's been a long-suffering passion for many English fans. They expect the worst, and usually they get it. I don't think they're going to get it this time. I really like England's chances to win the whole thing. And a thumbs up locally, one of my best friends from high school and still one of my best friends to this day, Don Supa, who's a listener of this show every week. He was down at a minor league baseball game in Utica this past weekend, Butch, the Utica Unicorns. He took his wife, Stephanie, and daughter, Chloe, to the game, and his daughter, Chloe, got to throw out the first pitch. I'm just going to read the text that he sent me. He said, Don insisted that she just lob it in there. Chloe can be very wild, but she insisted on firing one, and she fired a strike. The place was sold out, about 4,500 fans. They gave her a big applause. And if that wasn't enough, she got the ball signed by some of the players. And even better, Dawn caught a foul ball in the 7th inning. That's the biggest miracle of it all, because I've never caught a foul ball, and I'm glad Dawn did. So thumbs up to the Utica Unicorns and the experience that they gave a family here in Northern Michigan, and one of my best friends, Don. Way to go, Utica. Butch, your thumbs up and thumbs down for the week.
Been great, man.
Yeah,
Dang.
good experience.
Foul ball situation. You never know when one's going to come your way. I never caught a foul ball to the very last game, the second to the last game at Tiger Stadium. I finally caught a foul ball.
Very good.
I was in the press box when it came way up there, but it was shocking because it bounced around and whatnot there before I could finally get a hold to it there. But, God, I'm happy for him. I really am, too.
Good stuff.
Good family and entertainment here, man, too. For me, I guess, I hate to do it, but let's give the Detroit Tigers some credit there. They look good this past week and getting better. And I'd rather report good news than bad news. 29-22 since May the 8th. That is, those are good pickings, and hopefully the Tigers keep on going too, and don't smell their wee-wee. Thumbs down. And maybe a media thumbs up to Rachel Nichols there for the comment that she made on television a year ago, okay? And it's catching up because they showed the film of it there with a young lady that I don't know very well. I know Rachel Nichols very well in person and otherwise. But Maria Taylor, I heard nothing but good things about her. From former employees I used to be connected with at the station at ESPN. She apologized today for it there, and she stood up to it in her misdeeds and what she said over the television, which that she was very disappointed that she didn't get. This was all about who's going to be the host on the NBA Finals pregame and postgame show there. And Rachel Nichols didn't get it. She was the sideline reporter versus Marie Taylor getting the nod. And, again, very deserving getting the nod. Is a very entertaining ESPN ensemble in a long time because it's never been what you call the entertaining pregame and postgame. So normally that right goes to TNT.
Butch, we got to run. Thank you for joining us this week. You can catch Butch on Sports all week at Simply Butch 2. That's too.podomatic.com. And Butch, we'll talk to you next Monday night for our next edition of the game.
Okie dokie, Scott.
All right, that's going to do it for our show. I want to thank Butch Davis, David McCaig Jr., and Zack Cisek for joining us, and we'll talk to you next Monday night for our next edition of the game here on ESPN 1400.
Thanks for listening to the game here on ESPN 1400 WKNW, Sault Ste. Marie's sports leader. Check us out next Monday at 6 for the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. You can hear the podcast of the show and other broadcasts at thegamesportshow.com.